Every single day, humanity produces roughly 500 million digital posts, millions of hours of video, and countless spoken conversations. Almost all of it dissolves into white noise the exact second it leaves our mouths. Out of that endless roar, a fraction of a percent survives. A handful of concepts manage to outlive the era and the person that produced them. We tend to look backward and assume these surviving ideas endured because the speaker was a rare genius, or because the concepts were simply destined to shape history. But endurance is engineered. Visionary discourse relies on a specific mechanical linguistic framework. Without the tools to deconstruct those mechanics, we remain passive consumers, unable to spot the actual visionaries hiding in plain sight amid the modern noise. Societies frequently run into deep structural frictions, economic disparities, technological anxieties, cultural drifts, long before anyone knows what to call them. When a civilization lacks the vocabulary for its own systemic problems, it gets paralyzed. You cannot solve an issue if you lack the words to isolate and describe it. This is where the first mechanical component comes in. A visionary introduces a new term that instantly diagnoses and organizes that ambient chaos. That single term acts as a permanent container, giving massive populations the precise language needed to package and transfer the concept. Visionary discourse prioritizes the aggressive, accurate diagnosis of the present over the mere prediction of the future. But what happens when that specific present becomes the past? This introduces the second mechanism, modularity. An enduring concept strips away rigid, era-specific references and local grievances, reducing itself to a clean, universal logic system. Because it's modular, that exact system can be lifted from its original century and seamlessly plugged into a new technological landscape decades later. That delay brings us to the final mechanism, delayed ignition. There is almost always a strict temporal gap between when an idea is first uttered and when society possesses the infrastructure to adopt it. In 1865, Gregor Mendel published a paper detailing the mathematical laws of genetic inheritance. The scientific community of his day ignored it, dismissing his statistical approach to biology as bizarre and irrelevant. Society had to wait 35 years for the invention of advanced microscopes and the physical observation of cellular division before his math had a usable context. By codifying biological traits into a symbolic syntax, a grammar of recessive and dominant variables, Mendel created a logic system that survived the move from his garden to the modern laboratory. This exact linguistic architecture now dictates the labels and protocols we use to regulate genetic privacy, govern agricultural patents, and structure global health policy. Visionary discourse operates as a dormant architectural seed. It is built to survive extreme societal shifts, lying in wait until the environment is primed for its execution. These mechanics are happening around us right now. Visionary discourse is an active, living operating system continuously running in the background of global civilization. Individuals and institutions who identify these echoing frameworks hold a massive strategic advantage. They can anticipate structural shifts before the mainstream even notices a change in the wind. The next time you encounter a polarizing new vision or a strange vocabulary from a modern thinker, run it through the checklist. Does it precisely diagnose a current unspoken friction? Is the logic modular enough to survive without its current context? A fleeting cultural trend relies on the hype of the moment and falls apart when the context changes. A modular diagnostic idea only gains leverage as the surrounding environment evolves. Utilizing this deconstructive lens enables an observer to recognize the blueprints of tomorrow before the rest of the world catches on.